let's get to some questions.
Right.
We've got a call-in question from Ed. Ed, what is your question tonight?
Hey, Ed.
Here's the deal. I was traveling home from work. I used to work at Domino's, and on the way home, I was hit by a stolen car. However, the university police were chasing this stolen car, and they were out of their jurisdiction. They were not even close to the university. And they chased him through a red light and into me and into another car. And what happened is, since the car was listed as stolen, the insurance company of this supposedly stolen car wouldn't cover the accident. And that put me in a huge bind. And I'm just curious if there's anything that I can do to go after the university, as their police officer is responsible.
Yeah, and that's a very good question. We have these questions all the time, typically not with the university police, but with the city of Mobile or county government. Now, I will tell you, they have really clamped down on some of the rules and regulations as to what an officer can and cannot do. They're supposed to pull back if it's a dangerous situation. And so I don't, and as far as the jurisdiction of a university police officer, I don't know. I don't know, how far that extends or whether they can or cannot keep following someone that's, if the crime started on their property, how far can they, go to apprehend that person? I don't know. You would need to talk to someone, but there may be something that someone, again, there's lawyers out there that know all this, city government and university police information that might be able to help you to get you compensated, because they very well may have been outside their rights for what they did.
But he's saying they're not covering it because the car was stolen.
Right.
And so is that? Can you get around that, or is that typically what happens?
Yeah, that's typically what happens. If I stole your car in the parking lot without you knowing, now if you gave me your keys,
that's different.
That's different because I'm a permissive driver. But if I stole your car, then the policy on every policy I've ever seen says that if your car is stolen and you don't allow that person to take your car, then the coverage does not apply. So I agree in that situation that the insurance, he's going to have a tough time getting the insurance company to cover anything, because if that car truly was stolen, now I would check into that more, because I've had situations where they say, oh, somebody stole my car, come to find out it was the person's brother and he lets him drive the car all the time. Mm-hmm. And so don't just take their word for it, but you need to talk to somebody about that immediately.
Uninsured motorist coverage would cover him in that scenario, right?
Yes, uninsured motorist coverage would cover him, and thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. If you had obviously you have to have liability coverage. So if you do have full coverage, then your insurance company is going to have to pay for the damage to your vehicle. But even if you only have liability and not collision, if you have uninsured motorist coverage, your company is going to have to pay you for any injury that you may have suffered. You didn't mention any injuries, but if you did have any injuries, then your uninsured motorist coverage absolutely has to pay you, just like if the other side had insurance.
Doesn't cover the car, it just covers injuries.
Does not cover the car, but it covers the injuries.
All right.